Hello and welcome to another episode of Disc 2 Movie Review with me, Rhian Evans. Each week we choose one old film and one new film and have a little chat about what we think about them. This week I'm very happy to welcome back Lee Stevens and Martyn Cain, and we are going to chat about Taika Waititi's 2016 cult comedy Hunt for the Wilderpeople and Hal Ashby's 1971 comedy drama Harold and Maude. So, gentlemen, let's start with Hunt for the Wilderpeople.
This is Ricky Baker. Apparently he's a real bad egg. We're talking disobedience, stealing, spitting, running away, throwing rocks, kicking stuff, loitering and graffitiing. There's no one else who wants you, okay?
I thought it was lovely. I've never seen it before.
Lovely is an excellent.
Yeah.
There's a great description for that, yeah. It's a nice little feel-good film.
It took me ages to realise it was Sam Neill. I felt so stupid.
I found that really funny.
Yeah, I was just watching thinking, he sounds just like Sam Neill.
I mean, given the amount of Jurassic Park that you've been watching recently as well.
I know,
yeah.
That would be,
there we go, another mention of Jurassic Park. There'll be one in every episode.
Yeah, it was a really nice little film. And I remember seeing the trailer for it when it came out and thinking that looks like a pretty funny little film just because of the casting of the main character, Ricky
Baker.
That's the one, yeah.
It was ace.
And I was telling someone at work about it, and then they fell off the seat like, "Oh my god, I love that film!" And then just started quoting and singing the Ricky Baker birthday song and stuff at me. It's like, yeah, that's the one.
Apparently they did that song because they couldn't get the rights to sing Happy Birthday.
Happy Birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
That's crazy.
So they just came up with the Ricky Baker song on the spot.
Incredible.
I was surprised the mother died. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect because again I knew nothing about the film going in. I thought, oh God, that's happened.
Yeah, it's quite abrupt as well.
Yeah,
the pace of the whole film was really, really nice. It was quick, but those silent moments were quite poignant and heavy.
The copper was quietly hilarious as well.
Yeah.
the guy
Yeah.
one.
He only had a few jokes in there, but they were all good.
Yeah. It's my favourite modern comedy. That's what I said to you guys last week.
Yeah.
It was the first comedy I watched in a while, and I was like, this is my new favourite.
Yeah.
And I felt it had that cult feeling immediately.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
It's kind of
which made it even better.
Yeah. It has that, like as you say, the sort of what we do in the shadows, and like even not Napoleon Dynamite, but how that's got a sort of lower budget kind of feel to it.
Going back to the policeman, I thought him and the social services lady had a great sort of comic duo.
Yeah.
Together. It was brilliant. And like you said, he only had a few bits, but they stood out. Like when Ricky Baker burns down the barn.
The place, yeah.
She's like, this ain't no charred foster kid. And he's like,
This isn't the head of a real child.
Just throwing the paper plate out.
Just the script as well was just very, very funny.
Yeah.
Just simple but kind of silly humour, like with the Terminator bit. That was great.
The dog don't upset me. I'm not good with animals dying in films.
Right, okay.
Children, adults, I
Take
don't
them all
mind,
out.
But yeah,
No dogs.
no dogs.
Oh. Deers, you all right with them?
I don't care about Bambi's mum.
Okay,
Like,
fair enough. Yeah, it was, and it was a nice, like the amount of comedy in it as well. It was enough, but it's not to keep you too detached from like the characters. So I find if there's a lot of like comedy setups or like humour in it, then you kind of have a detachment from the character and you sort of see it as just being like a comedy film. Whereas this brought enough in that you sort of got into the relationship between Ricky and his foster dad, and it sort of made it a bit more when, you know, like right at the end where the dad goes to prison, but when Ricky actually comes back, he goes, "No, come and live with us." It was like a little bit like, oh.
Yeah. Heartwarming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what that emotion is?
and Sam Neill's not the first person you expect to see in a comedy either.
Yeah, I was surprised, pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
I really like the way it was edited. I think it can go either way with the subtitles, like the chapters. I thought it was charming, but sometimes it can be a bit lazy. But I thought it really suited the genre of the film.
It did do as well, and especially since it's not a child story, but it's kind of told from the point of view of Ricky.
And it's based on a book as well. So.
Yeah. So it's nice that I find it not pretentious sometimes, but a little bit like the film's trying to be more than it is. So like when they split, Antichrist into the parts, And you were just a bit like, just let it roll, let it run through. But yeah, this worked really well. And as you say, if it's based on a book as well, then it kind of makes sense.
But I thought it led you into the film really well. I thought the intro music, which goes out of my head at the minute, just the way it starts, you know, when he gets out of the car with his little jacket and stuff on, it sort of had that. Certain films you feel like you're going to take on a journey, sort of thing, and it had that feel with it. It was really odd.
Yeah, I enjoyed that whole opening scene. Actually, it's brilliant. Where they just watch him walk around
the house and then just go back straight.
Bye, Ricky. Shuts the door. What a piece of work, eh? It's just so good. But yeah, I loved it. Really, really loved it, and love that you guys enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, no, it was awesome. I think there's a certain, as you say, it's the dry New Zealand humour. There's something I think that rings in with like dry British humour as well. Where I can see,
definitely.
I don't know how well that film would have gone down in the States, but like over here, you kind of can just connect with that. And maybe it's the thing again about writing the good characters, and you don't need to make things funny because you know just people's personality traits will, you know, people like that, you know, so you can sort of connect to that kind of dryness straight away.
Should we move on to Harold and Maude?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
How many of these suicides have you performed?
15.
What is your name?
Harold Chase.
I'm Dame Marjorie Chardin, but you may call me Maud. I think we're going to be great friends.
Did you watch it?
Yeah.
We watched Hook.
You watched Hook?
Yeah, we thought we were doing Hook.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We can talk about Hook.
To be honest, we can talk about a bit of it because you watched the first 20 minutes.
Yeah,
of Harold
I
and Maude,
did. I hated it
and I've read a lot
Really?
up about it. And it sounded ace.
because I'm blaming Martyn for this because I started watching it and I ended up turning it off thinking I'm gonna have to have two goes at this.
Right.
And then Martyn said, "Oh, we're doing Hook anyway," so I thought, "Great, I don't need to watch it."
What didn't you like about Harold and Maude, though?
I don't. Was it? Maybe I made it longer than 20 minutes. I made it up to the bit where he shot himself.
Yeah.
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 And the only time I thought anything was funny up to that point was the guy with one arm saluting himself with his sleeve. he has like his sleeve folded up.
Okay.
But it's done in such a way that if he wants to, he can salute with the
Fantastic.
with the thing.
Yeah.
That was good. But yeah,
So it was.
it was too dry for me. And
Yeah.
I've got a pretty dry sense of humour.
Yeah.
But like that was arid.
I think if it takes into from what I've read of it, it's quite a morbid film anyway. Obviously, with Harold always like sort of a vying for attention of his mum by faking out suicides and things.
Yeah.
And then the thing about being on like the dates with the girls and like turning up and chopping his arm off or something sounds. So yeah, that's like really quite dark.
I don't know if because it was 1971
Yeah.
it was filmed, I've got down. And I do think in terms of comedy, the concept
Yeah.
might be quite ahead of its time or like it's a good concept, but I don't know if it just comes down to films in the 70s. I thought it just kind of missed the mark and it was a bit too dark.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know this is probably sacrilege to a lot of people listening, but I've never been a particularly big Monty Python fan. And to the point where actually I don't really like it.
Bye, Mike.
Sorry, mate. And I found that the same way. You know, it was. It's almost like you've got to make your own fun.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Then it's the jokes or the humour isn't there. You've got to kind of dig around for it.
Yeah.
I find that a bit weird with films like that.
Yeah. Oh no, go on.
But what I did sort of take from it is, with absolutely no right in doing it, I'm quite interested in cinematography and the way things are shot and stuff. I don't quite know why because I'm rubbish at that sort of thing. But it made me wonder, like when you look at films from the 70s and stuff, there was a real push to try and make like the colour palette of the film what you see, you know, in sort of real life, what's around you.
So everything's a bit dull.
Yeah, and I wondered what point was it where we started just nudging the saturation on things up a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
It was just a weird thing when I was watching it.
I don't know if it was because obviously when like Technicolor came in, you had things like The Wizard of Oz, and that was really bright, and like Dorothy's shoes were actually silver, and they made them red just because.
I didn't know that.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. So so her shoes in the book are silver, but because they had this newfound color film stuff, they made them red to make it boost it more, take more advantage of the color side of things. And so I don't. Yeah, whether it sort of went with that, and then that kind of became like old hat sort of stuff. So And I guess the quality of film and things that they were using at the time, because like we saw with like Don't Look Now, and I've seen like the trailer and some clips of Harold and Maude, and it is that kind of like dulling.
Yeah,
There's not much
grounded.
saturation.
Yeah.
It's quite grounded.
Yeah.
And then maybe we're just used to like the next level of filming where they've been able to push the colours and push things. And it's funny because I'd read that like Harold and Maude was considered like the first sort of quirky indie film.
Yeah.
And so ones that go on from them was like a lot of like the Wes Anderson films, which obviously are full of colour. And things like, have you ever seen Little Miss Sunshine?
Yeah.
So, and ones like that, and that's really colourful as well. And so they sort of take that kind of like quirky relationship between characters, and that's sort of set the bar kind of for how these films are going in the future. And I think, I don't know if it's like Don't Look Now, where we're used to seeing films that were influenced by it actually nailing and brushing up on the bits that was
Just
a bit rough
tidying
on.
it up.
Yeah. And so you watch something like Harold and Maude now, and we're used to seeing like Submarine or Little Miss Sunshine or like any of the Wes Anderson films, and that's what we're using as our bar. Whereas I guess when it came out, that was the bar, and then people have progressed over the years. So maybe that's why we were a little bit like disappointed in it. Because reading up about it, it sounds like a really great idea for a film.
Yeah.
But it has been a bit Marmite. So there was one at like the AV Club went into how important it is as a film, but also quoted from a different review who absolutely panned it, and just said, it's. The whole film is about you've got the two sides. You've got the Harold obsessed with death and the Maude obsessed with life and things, and they were just like, nope, the whole film just dies. And you're like, wow.
I agree with the like aesthetically, it's quite dull, and I do put that down to kind of the timing of when it was filmed. But I didn't mind it. I thought the concept was really interesting, and there was like a 51-year age gap between the two of them. Which I can't really recall seeing anything else with something that dramatically big. And
no, the first thing that came to me was Lost in Translation of any sort of recent times, and that was an age gap, but it wasn't obviously as big as that.
Quite as dramatic. And apparently there was a sex scene, but Paramount cut it out. But you see it in like they're in the bedroom and stuff. So I was like, it's quite bold, really. But like I said, I did think it just felt like, well, it was the first one of its kind, really, and so it just didn't quite hit the mark of.
I'm surprised that it got cut out. In that era, it seemed because it was kind of anything goes, wasn't it? At that point.
Yeah, but I guess as well, if they're still trying to keep it as like a sort of comedy drama, they're not wanting. And remember that around the same sort of time when Don't Look Now came out, and they kept the sex scene in, people lost their minds over it. They're probably not wanting that to be the focus of the film.
I feel like reoccurring things that we talk about in each episode are the Don't Look Now sex scene, Jurassic Park, and Antichrist.
And Antichrist,
So what we need...
we're only 2 episods in, it's fine.
Is a demonic dinosaur porn movie.
I'm pretty sure we can find one. I mean, it's good. It kind of posed the question with me whether that's the sort of film that would be prime for a remake, or whether you just go, actually, that's what made it so special at the time. Like then they remade Arthur, didn't they? And was it like Russell Brand that played? Yeah. And so it's like, well, maybe that did seem a bit dated at the time, and it's still a good story, so it could have been told to a new kind of generation. Could something like this? Could you get away with something like this now, where you had, like, name me a young male actor.
The guy, the Spider-Man.
The Spider-Man guy. Could you have a film where him and Maggie Smith got it on?
Radcliffe would be a good one for
Daniel Radcliffe. Yeah.
I'd go watch it. I think more out of interest of how it comes out and how it does come across than anything else. Curiosity.
So that would be it's kind of got, if you think about the carefree side of Maude, it's kind of got a Richard Curtis thing about it, where or like a Calendar Girls type, whoever produced that, kind of feel to it.
On paper, like the concept of the film sounds like an Adam Sandler film.
Right.
It's the
Harold and Maude.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah. Oh.
Less
inclined to go see it.
Yeah. If you have a film that starts a Happy Madison production, expectations are just going to go right down here. But I mean, after reading all about it, I'm quite interested to watch Harold and Maude now, which I should have done already. I know.